talk about, so if you're using the verb arimasu, what particle do you need here? Yeah. Okay. So you can put it in the right position, but it needs to be still in agreement with the verb. Okay. Kitte ga 5枚 arimasu. So even though this 5枚 is separating the noun from the verb, the particle still has to match up with whatever verb you're using. That's what's tricky about this one, because you feel like you're used to the particle being close to the verb that it goes with, right? And this is interrupting that flow. But that's the way they do it. Okay, so この週末は切符を2枚買いました。はい、that works. Okay, because 週末は, you know, you can leave the wa out if you wanted to. この週末切符を2枚買いました. So all the wa is doing here really is putting a little bit more emphasis on the fact that you're talking about this past weekend as opposed to some other weekend. Okay. Okay, 私ははがきを100枚買いました. That works. That's a big pack of postcards.
Yeah, they were Doctor Who. True story.
Good reason. Okay, コンサートの切符を4枚忘れました. That's frustrating, right? You forgot 4 concert tickets. How did you get in? Oh, that would kill you, huh? Okay, 飛行機の切符何枚買いましたか? So you're asking somebody how many airline tickets did you buy, right? What's missing? Anybody spot it? It's like a Where's Waldo for Japanese.
Particle O.
Yep, and where should we put it?
After the direct object.
Yes, okay, which would be? Kippu, exactly. So you insert an o right there. So, 飛行機の切符を何枚買いましたか? Okay, so how many airline tickets did you buy? Make sense? Okay, 私は切符を10枚買います. Okay, good. Switching back to future tense, I'm going to buy 10 tickets, right? And okay, we have 1人 and 2人. 切符を何枚買いますか? 2枚買います. There you go. Okay. By the way, if you were really writing vertically, formally, you would put the kanji also in vertical form. So it would be 1人, 2人, like that. But yeah, if you want to do like person A, person B in Japanese, that's one way to do it. So that's cool. Okay, any questions about that? Did that help a little bit? Because on the test even, on the OPI, people were saying, I don't remember how to do this one. We didn't spend enough time on it. So I'm gonna, anytime you guys give me feedback that there's a grammar point we still need more work on, one of the ways I'm gonna work it in is to give you guys a warm-up exercise with that in it, and since we're now in lesson 6 and we're going to be moving on, what I might do is give you a warm-up that incorporates this along with another grammar structure from lesson 6, because that's the other thing I want you guys to start doing. We're actually starting to learn things now where you can incorporate 2 or 3 different grammar points that we've studied all into the same sentence. So you can start making more complex sentences now. That's one of the cool things about second semester. We start to get to make more complex, more interesting sentences. It's not going to be as choppy anymore. It's not going to sound like, you know, little kids writing compositions in kindergarten, you know? So,
What do you sound like? Just kidding.
so, what that brings me to then is we're introducing Teform! Yay! Right?
You need to go tell people to go die.
That's
That's
when
when they do
Yeah, yes, that is one of the vocabulary words.
Yeah, it's really just a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Oh dear.
yeah. Teform is not only a lot of fun, it's a lot of uses. There are so many different things you can do with Teform. And so it becomes really useful to know it and to know how to do it correctly, which is why I've got this whole little conjugation thingy that I've been writing up to help you guys. I figure this way it'll be on our YouTube recording also when we talk about it. So that way we will have a way for you guys to go back and review it whenever you want to. But before we actually start that, we need to do a quick tango cover. And what I'm thinking of doing, this was a suggestion from the other section, is as we go through it each time, do the separation into ones you don't know well, ones you do know well, and each class only go through the ones that you've indicated you don't know still. So that way, hopefully, we condense the amount of time needed on Tango and we increase the amount of time spent on Kaiwa.
If you do that for both classes, wouldn't you need to mix them up and then?
Yeah, that's going to be a little confusing, so we'll see how it works. I've never done this before, so we'll find out. Hopefully you guys will be similar on most of them, so I won't have to.
Just a couple that we have to move.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start with our kanji. So some of these you may not have looked at yet, so.
It kind of looks like Friday's kanji, but.
Yeah, this one is
South.
south, Minami. Okay, so this first time through, obviously, I'm not expecting you to know any of them yet. So let's just, go through them again. So this is Minami, south. Gofun, which means 5 minutes. Okay, so we're going to be able to do minutes finally in clock time. Give you a hint.
Sensei.
Hi, sensei. Right, which, by the way, in Japanese culture, to point to yourself, you would do this. Right,
No, it last, or
Hi.
it's a game.
right, what's that?
Nose goes.
Hi. What kind of students?
College students.
College students, daigakuse.
Something mouth, I think.
Okay,
Got some else for it.
north exit, Kitaguchi.
Okay.
Yeah, so,
North exit.
this is a mouth, but it's not just a literal human mouth. It can also mean an opening of some sort. So it gets used by extension on things like
It's a house mouth.
exits. So Kitaguchi, north exit, could be, for example, at a train station where there could be multiple ways to get out of the train station. So Kitaguchi might be the label on the north exit of the train station. Or like if for some reason they had multiple exits out of a building and they wanted to label them that way, but I've
That
never seen
first-
that really done.
The first one looks kind of like a hallway with doors, sort of.
Yeah, but this is the part that means kita, north.
Oh, okay.
So
North exit.
yeah, this is pointing north, kind of. Yeah. Deguchi. Deguchi, which is an exit, any exit. So, for example, highway exits in Japan are labeled deguchi. Also, just a door that says exit in English. In Japan, it would say deguchi. So like if you're in a movie theater and you need to know where the exits are, deguchi, that's the sign to look for. That's the kanji to look for.
Is it lit up like an RX?
Yeah, it's
okay.
the same idea, just it's these kanji instead of the word exit in English. The word exit in English wouldn't do people much good in Japan, so they use deguchi. Yep.
Hidari.
That one.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
Looks
I
like
know,
yawn.
I know the on reading is say.
Yeah. Nishi, yeah,
Nishi.
Nishi, which
West.
means, somebody said it.
West.
West, yes. And it does look sort of like yon, but with an extra piece on top, right? So if you think of it, west being the fourth direction, maybe that'll help you remember Nishi, west. Okay, east,
Higashi.
Higashi,
Tall.
and it's the To in Tokyo, yes.
Tall.
Which, yeah, or Tohoku and various other Tokaido, various terms. But if you look at the breakdown of the Higashi, you see the sun piece in the middle there? And it's the sun coming up behind a tree. You see the tree with the sun behind it?
That's cute.
So if you think about, looking toward the sunrise, and there's a tree in your way, that's the image that Higashi is built on.
What does it mean again?
East. So
Right.
sunrise is in the
Yeah.
east, so
Okay.
Kita.
Kita, which is north, right?
The me.
The middle one is country.
Yes, it is.
Gai kokushin.
There you go, Gaikokujin. Us. Non-Japanese people, Gaikokujin. Okay, this part is also the kanji for outside, as in outdoors, but it's also outside as in outside country person. Person from a country outside of Japan. Make sense? Gaikokujin.
Something.
Jippun.
Jippun.
Or jippun.
Yeah, two pronunciations, jippun or jippun, and it means 10 minutes, exactly. So if it's 5:10, for example, in the afternoon, goji jippun would be 10 minutes past 5, okay? Gakusei,
Students.
student,
Migi.
ni. Okay, south exit, exactly, so Minamiguchi. West exit, so that would be red. Nishiguchi. Hi, Nishiguchi. And then Daigaku, college, exactly, where we are, Daigaku. Oki, there you go. You remember it's spelled O-O.
No, I want to say it that way every time.
Yeah, Oki. So this is the kanji for Oki. Notice that this kanji can be read dai when it's part of a kanji compound, or o when it's part of the word oki. And then there are kanji compounds that read it as o, like the city name Osaka. So it has more to do with whether the word is a Chinese origin word or a Japanese origin word. If it's a Japanese origin word, the reading is more likely to be o. If it's a Chinese origin word like daigaku, then the reading is going to be dai. So daigaku, Chinese origin. Osaka, Japanese place name, Japanese origin. Make sense? Okay.
East exit.
East exit, and it's pronounced Higashiguchi. There we go. Deru means to exit. Hi. outside country, so foreign country. Yeah, gaikoku is a foreign country. And
Huh?
Chugo.
Chugoku, which, yeah, you could translate it as inside country, inside as in the middle. What are they considering themselves in the middle of?
It's actually China.
Pretty much.
Yeah, Chugoku, China. They looked around themselves in ancient times and said, well, we're the only ones with an emperor and an organized bureaucratic government and a whole civilization, so we're the center of the universe. They basically consider themselves to be the only civilization of humans surrounded by barbarians. So they were the middle
They were
country.
very advanced.
Every
Right.
civilization ever.
Has thought of themselves that way,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Nobody ever says, "Oh yeah, we're the barbarians. They're the advanced people," right? So anyway, Chugoku is a typically self-centered sort of name for China, but
Not to get confused with Chugaku,
which would be
middle school.
middle school, exactly. So
Oh, they
you've got
declare that.
Daigaku, which is great learning. Chugaku means middle school. It's literally like middle
Junior high school.
school, junior high. Shogaku, shogakko actually, they add another kanji to it, is little school, elementary school. And then kotogakko, or shortened to koko, is actually high level schooling, which is high school. So, yeah, well, and don't forget that when koko was new to Japan, that was still kind of the standard, that the typical person would finish middle school, an advanced person finished high school, and only the really super advanced people went on to college. You know, people with either a lot of money or really, 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 really smart. You know, but in the 1800s, it was unusual to have a college degree, right? A high school degree was considered enough for most jobs. So, yeah, yukuri slowly. You guys know this one, right? Yeah, yukuri te kudasai. You remember it from there.
Take it easy.
Atode, yeah. Afterwards.
Later on.
Later, okay.
Verb.
Yes, well,
Yasumu.
Yasumu. So if yasumi is a break, yasumu is the verb form to take a break, yes. So yasumu is to rest. Yasumi is like a noun form of the same root. A rest versus take a rest. Make sense? And they're also the same root as oyasumi nasai. Osieru. Hai, osieru, to teach.
But you're
Hai. Kariru. Anybody?
To borrow.
To borrow.
Yeah.
Kariru desu ka? May I borrow it? Kariru.
Wait,
Hi,
you can use that
Drew.
in referring to a person?
Hmm?
You can use that in referring to like borrowing a person.
No, borrow from a person.
I'm like,
Person ni kariru is like, you know, tomodachi ni karimashita. I borrowed it from my friend. Okay?
that's the part.
Well, 'cause
No, you're not borrowing the person.
If you ask someone, can I borrow something from you?
Yeah.
Or is it from
We
We
use
speak
that
that.
idiom in English. It doesn't really work that well in
I was
Japanese.
wondering if that idiom also exists in Japanese.
Not that I know of. Okay, so hayuru is to enter, and you'll notice if you look at the kanji for hayuru, it looks like a backwards hito. Tsukau is to use. Okay. Shinu, to die. Asobu, to play. As in, do something enjoyable for the fun of it. It does not have the childish connotation that the word play has in English. So adults can say they're going over to their friend's house to asobu, and it works. It doesn't sound ridiculous the way it would if a 20-year-old said that in English. Say, yeah, I'm going over to my friend's house to play now. It sounds crazy for adults in English, but in Japanese it works. Asobu.
That's the opposite.
Kaesu is to return. Right?
Yeah.
Pasokon.
Personal computer.
Yeah, personal computer, PC. Pasokon. they just turn personal computer and shortened
Just
it.
took the first bit.
Pasokon.
Alright.
Yeah, they do that with a lot of long katakana words. They make their own abbreviations of it because doing initials like PC doesn't work as easily in Japanese.
And it won't be understood as easy.
Yeah, a lot of Japanese people wouldn't know what it was, but pasokon they know. Baggage, things to carry, nimotsu. It's literally like things to carry in the kanji. Right? Denki, electricity, and it also refers to electric lights specifically. Denki. Tsugi, next, right? Tsugi no peiji, things like that. Ofuro, ofuro,
Bath.
bath, yes, Japanese style bath especially, ofuro. So, ofuro ni haeru is to enter the bath, take a bath. Deru, to exit, yes. Remember dekakeru, same kanji, different conjugation.
You know, it might be easier if you did the kanji second, because then we'd go over this. maybe.
Ah,
It-
okay, yeah,
yeah,
good point.
So we'd learn them.
Osoku,
Late as in
late, yeah. Osoku kimashita, came late, things like that. Kakeru, open, hai. For example, doa o kakeru, hon o kakeru. Oriru. You remember noru? Densha ni noru, to get on the train. Densha kara oriru, get off the train.
We're
To-
finally off the train.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been riding it for 3 weeks now, right? Oriru, we can finally get off now. To debark, get off. Shimeru,
Close.
to close, for example, door o shimeru. They don't use this for books. For whatever reason, they've got a different verb for closing your book, tojiru, but they use shimeru for doors and windows and such.
How long have they had? I mean, like, they used to,
Well,
on
yeah,
scrolls
they
and
used to
things.
use scrolls and other things, which may be why. That may be that the origin is to do with like rolling up a scroll or something, I don't know.
Books of Chinu.
Motsu, to carry. You remember nimotsu?
Yeah.
So this is the motsu part of nimotsu. Same kanji, to carry. Tetsudao,
To help.
to help. Tetsudatte kudasai, please help me. Right? Suwaru, something you're all doing right now and I'm not. Sitting, right? Isogu, to be in a hurry. So isogimasu is like to hurry up. Okay, these are all verbs. Okay. Kesu, to snuff out or turn off. So you can kesu with a rosoku, a candle, rosoku o kesu, denki o kesu, computer o kesu, anything that you turn on and off that's electric. Kesu is the turning it off part, but also it works for its original meaning, which was to blow out things like candles and flames. Yeah, so mado, something this room doesn't really have except for the little one in the door. Yeah, that's mado.
That's fine.
Yeah, we're kind of in a large cubicle here. Peiji, you guys know that one, right? We've been using it all along. Densha,
Train.
train, yes. It's literally electric vehicle. The kanji for this one. So
For train?
it doesn't refer to steam locomotives, it refers to electric trains. Japanese is run mostly on electric trains. Even the Shinkansen, they're electric trains. So densha.
How it works, it also refers to the Shinkansen.
Shinkansen is a separate name, obviously, because it's the high-speed rail, but I think densha in general kind of encompasses Shinkansen as well. Although chikatetsu, subway, is sometimes counted as a separate thing.
What do they call the restaurants up there?
The restaurants. Probably Subway, if they have those in Japan. I don't remember seeing that particular chain there. Shawa. Exactly what it sounds like. Alternative to ofuro. Kanji. Exactly what you know it to be. Okay. Some longer phrases. Honto desu ka? Really?
Yeah.
Honto desu ka? Is that the truth? Honto desu ka? And again, that can be said in different tones of voice for different connotations, just like in English. Sugu. Sugu is right away. Hai. Kikko desu.
That would be fine.
That will be fine, and it can. This one's tricky because if somebody's trying to give you more food, and you've had your third helping already, and you couldn't possibly eat another bite, kikko desu. I'm fine. But if someone's asking, is it okay for me to do something or other, and you're saying, yeah, that's fine with me, kikko desu is kind of a formal version of daijoubu desu in that kind of context. So it can be both a yes, please do, and a no, please don't, depending on the circumstances. So it's kind of a tricky one. Cut up, we've talked about this a little bit, I think. Because or therefore. They define it as because, but I find that definition confusing in a lot of contexts because of the placement of it. Okay, so when it comes at the end of the sentence, generally it's more like, and that's why. So you're doing something, and that's why. And because the kara comes at the end, so like, atsui desu kara, because it's hot. Okay, so, if you say, I think in this chapter they teach it to you where you say what you're doing first and then the reason why. So if you say, for example, kyo, shorts o hakimasu, I'm going to wear shorts today, atsui desu kara, because it's hot, that's why. So it's that kind of a because. But you got to be careful because it doesn't go in the same spot in the sentence that English does. Okay.
Just to bring a thing.
Motte kuru, to come, carrying it. Okay, the motte is from motsu, to carry, and the kuru is to come, right? So if you're coming while carrying that thing, then you're bringing it. Motte kuru. Make sense? Okay. Tsurete kuru. Tsureru is to accompany, as in a person. So tsurete kuru means you're bringing a person with you to the party or something. So tsurete kuru and motte kuru both get translated as bring in English, but tsurete kuru applies to people, like tomodachi o tsurete kuru. I'm going to bring my friend. Versus keiki o motte kuru. I'm going to bring a cake. Okay, so motte kuru is for things, tsurete kuru for people. You mix them up and it sounds really strange. Wasureru. To forget. Wasureru is the word.
Have a great day.
What?
Thank you.
That's the test of the emergency system.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I have to acknowledge that thing,
There was
otherwise
something going on. There was some kind of thing
go away.
in cocoa, I think.
Well, no, it's just They do,
Test?
they
Yeah,
do a
it's
monthly test of the system, so that was our monthly test. Yeah, I got a warning on email yesterday that that was gonna happen and what to do about it.
Yeah, because they were going to do it at 10, and I saw you.
Yeah, 10 and 6, so it's gonna interrupt this class. Yeah. Okay, so den o kakeru means
To make a phone call.
to make a phone call, yes. So they've got an actual verb for phone calling. Okay. Shawa o abiru. Can you take a
Take a
guess?
shower.
To take a shower, exactly right. Shawa o abiru. So again, special verb just for showering. Tsukeru, to turn on something electric, like denki o tsukeru. Okay. Okay.
Had been an actual emergency situation alert. Appropriate directions would have followed. Thank you and have a great day.
Okay. I don't know if I need to select an action.
I think it's over.
Okay.
Like, so that's just saying it, there's no test.
Okay, so tabako su is, can anyone guess? To smoke. Yeah, tabako is what they call cigarettes in Japanese.
Oh, wait a minute, that's not in katakana.
Yeah, good point. It's not in katakana. This is one of the few words that dates back so far that they just don't necessarily consistently do it in katakana. Some people do the tabako in katakana these days, but it predates the convention that katakana should be used for loan words and not for other things. So it's often written in hiragana. There are certain words that are so old in Japanese that they predate that convention, and so not everybody writes them in katakana.
What does su mean?
Su is the verb to blow or, yeah, I think it's either blow or inhale. I forget which kanji it is. But tabako su is the verb to basically breathe in
I
tobacco
think you said
smoke.
inhale, because I think I was talking to your 3 and 4.
Yeah.
They used it, but they're trying to use it in a slang, like telling someone that they sucked.
Oh,
So,
doesn't work that way.
I know,
They get very
they told
creative
them
with the language.
to suck an egg, is what they were trying to say, but
Yeah,
like, it was really,
yeah, it doesn't really work that way.
it was really funny, but yeah,
Yeah.
it didn't work that way.
Okay, something I'm doing right now.
Let's stand then.
Tatsu, to stand, yes. Yeah, and this tatsu also forms the root for things like tatemono, something that's standing, which is a building.
We have this, enter the bath.
Yeah, to enter the bath. We had ofuro and we had hairu. Now we've got it combined. Ofuro ni hairu is to enter the bath, to take a bath. Yeah. Ofuro in Japan is like its own little separate room usually, because there's the half that's a big humongous bathtub, family-sized bathtub usually, and the other half is like a shower area. But the whole thing is installed in one tiled room where the door gets you into the shower and bath combination area. And then usually there's a spigot that can serve both sides, and a nice insulating cover for the tub. So it gets filled with hot water and covered, and then you go in, you take your shower on the shower side, and you're not worrying about spraying water into the hot tub because it's covered. And then when you're totally clean and rinsed off and no soap left on you, you can get in the tub just to soak. And then you don't drain it when you get out. You leave it there because the next family member is going to do the same thing. And that water gets used for everybody in the family for that night. And then it gets drained, and usually mom scrubs it out the next day before it gets used again.
I saw a video, like, of a little girl who's doing stuff about
Yeah.
Japan, and she said that they wash their laundry, and then that water goes to the bathtub or the shower or something.
No, I think it's the other way around.
Yeah.
The yeah.
Backwards.
The shower and tub drain into the same place usually, and I think some homes are made so that that shower water drain feeds into either flushing the toilet or washing the clothes.
Did they get this whole like tile bath like thing from Rome, you think, or?
I'm not sure where they got that one
Because I
from.
know like Rome had a big like they have like
Yeah,
several
but there
bath
wasn't really a lot of
situations.
contact between ancient Rome and Japan.
Yeah.
Maybe
I
China
think,
and Rome got
no,
it.
Japan, I think, got it from the fact that it's a volcanic nation. And so there are natural hot springs all over the country. And so, I mean, even the wild monkeys bathe in the natural hot springs. So I think humans in Japan just naturally thought, oh, hot water, that's nice. We can bathe in there, we can get clean and relax our muscles and it feels good. And then eventually they built indoor versions of that for places that didn't have it naturally. But yeah, in you know, like 400, 500 years ago, the typical Japanese home did not have its own bath. But what they had was they had a bathhouse down the street somewhere. And so you would see people in their cotton yukata with their little caddy full of bath supplies, and they'd walk down the street, take their bath in the bathhouse, and then get dressed again, and then walk home with their container. So, yeah, so that was sort of typical up until modern period where more people got private baths built into their own homes. Okay. Taihenna, tough, difficult, yeah. It's not the same as muzukaishi, which is difficult in the sense of, oh yeah, it's a hard test or whatever. Taihen is more like times are tough kind of thing, or like, you know, something was challenging. Something was emotionally as well as physically difficult in some way. Rainen, coming year, next year. So the Rai in Rainen is the same kanji as kuru, to come, and the nen is year. Same one as in like ichinensei. You remember that nen? So Rainen is literally the coming year, next year. Raishu, next week. Again, coming week. Raishu. Night. Come on, most of you probably do
Yeah,
like
video
these.
games.
Yeah, video games. Terebi game. Yeah, things like
I thought it was
PlayStation.
Terebi.
Terebi game. That's what they call it because you play it on your TV screen, right? You know, when if you've got like, you know, the
Do they call it video?
typical like PlayStation type, Nintendo type machines.
Do they
like
call
Terebi
video
game.
television too?
Terebi is TV, like live TV, and then video would be videos. And then if you're being specific, you can say DVD, that it's on a DVD, as opposed to some other way that you might watch video. Video used to refer to VHS tapes, but I think they're still using the term for other videos these days. Hi, Shimin Byoin. Did we already have Byoin?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hospital? So Shimin literally means like the city and the people. So it's like a municipal hospital. It's the city hospital, the people's hospital. It's a hospital for everyone to be able to use. So if you get sick, you get taken to Shimin Byoin. Okay? It's not like a private hospital that you have to pay to get in. Japanese has nationalized health care, so anybody can go there. And if you're there as an employee, even if you're not a Japanese citizen, you get health care insurance just like everybody else.
So it's
That-
like a doctor.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like going to the doctor because they don't have a lot of private practice doctors anymore because they do have nationalized care. So even if you just got a minor cold, you go to the local shiminbyoin and somebody sees you and takes care of you. Anyway, konshu, this week, the kon is the same kon that's in konnichiwa, konbanwa. It's the same kanji that's ima and the first half of kyo. So it's, konshu this week. Okay.
Oh, CD.
GD. Yes. GD. Seriously. That's really what they call it. Kyokuso. What you're looking at right now.
Textbook.
Textbook, right?
Obasan.
Ba-san.
Grandmother.
Grandmother, right? And okane. Money. Okay. So that took a long time, so if it's okay with you guys, I think we won't do the 3x3 today. 'Cause I feel like,
Be like 30 minutes.
yeah, I want us to take some time on Tefomu no Kisoku. Can you guys see it okay if I leave it like this, or do you want me to pull down the screen?
Would you mind putting down this?
Okay.
I just
put
find
it-
it distracting the things
Okay.
that are in the way.
The only thing is I might want to write on the board at some point, but that's okay. I can try to do it all from here and we'll see how it goes. So, tefomu no kisoku. Kisoku just means rules. So these are the teform rules. Okay. Ru, doshi, ru verbs. Doshi means verb, by the way. Okay, I tried to just do this all in Japanese just because. Ru doshi. You just drop the ru and add the te. Okay? So, example, re, it means example. Taberu, tabete. Easy, right? So, miru, mite, okiru, okite. What other ru verbs do you guys do? Dekakeru, dekakete, deru, dete, etc., etc. Okay? So, all the ru verbs are like that. And then udoshi, we've got multiple categories within u verbs. Okay, so all of the verbs that end with either u or tsu or ru are in the utsuru category. So notice that, remember there are ru verbs that end in ru, and then there are u verbs that also end in ru. So the u verbs that end in ru are going to be in this category. Right? So, for example, kaeru, you remember that one? And the way they form is you drop the u, tsu, or ru and add a small tu, te. Okay? So, for example, ao changes to atte, matsu, matte, toru, totte. So, motsu, to hold, carry, motte. Kaeru, kaete. Okay? I can't think of other examples right now, but you get the idea, right?
Is this on campus?
Yeah, well, not yet, but it's going to be.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to upload it as soon as we're done. Okay? Mubunu, nde. Okay, so yomu, yonde, asobu, asonde, shinu, shinde. You see how that works? So a way to remember this one is mubu, nu are all kind of nasal sounds anyway, and so is nde, right? And, between te and de is the more nasal sound there as well, right? So nde. Make sense? Okay, and let's see. What color do you like for this one? How about purple?
I was thinking that.
Yeah, so ku and gu are going to change to ite or ide. Okay, so kaku changes to kaite. Isogu changes to isoide. So notice since you've got ite, the ten that was on the ku, changing it to gu, has to go somewhere. Can't go on the e, right? So it goes on the te to make de. Makes sense, right? You got to keep the ten on these. Okay, so that's a way to remember it. Kaku kaite, isogu isoide. Notice also kiku, to listen or to ask. Kiite. Okay, so think about that one. People think, no, that can't possibly be right. It sounds too weird. Yeah, it's right. Kiite. So it's got an extra e, a long e sound in there. Okay, kiite. Okay, tokubetsu na case, special case. Okay, iku changes to itte. So it is more like this pattern, utsuru pattern, even though it's a ku. So I'm going to make it red to kind of highlight that for you. Let me make it a different shade of red so it highlights it. Good? Okay. And then our other category, su ending verbs, change to shite. So we're going to try to find a different color for this. How about blue? Su changes to shite. Can you tell that that's blue? Does that work?
Start blue.
Maybe. Should I do lighter blue? Would that be better?
It's a little bit hard to see on the projector, but that
Yeah.
doesn't matter too much.
It's hard. How's that
That's
one?
better.
Is that better? Let's do su, shite. So hanasu changes to hanashite. Okay. And then irregular doshi, irregular verbs. Okay, so irregulars are going to be,
Are there more exceptions than that in the Japanese language?
no. Yeah, that one special case, iku itte, is the only weird one that doesn't follow any of the rules. And even the irregulars, suru, shite, kuru, kite, they kind of follow a sort of a pattern, which is that they sort of combine the rules of both. You drop the ru to add the te, but the su changes to shi. The ku changes to ki. So it's kind of like you're combining a couple of different rules. Okay, how about orange? Is that going to show up, or is that too light?
Both
is
look
good.
okay. Orange looks good.
Orange is good? Okay. So, benkyo suru, I gave you this example because, and benkyo shite, because I wanted you to notice that it's not just suru as the standalone verb, but any verb that takes suru follows that same pattern. The same thing is true for kuru kite. So, obviously, the verb kuru itself changes to kite, but also verbs that are compound ending in kuru, like motte kuru, also conjugate the same way to motte kite. Okay? And notice that the motte that's in front here is actually the te form of motsu. So when you're connecting two verbs to make a compound verb, the first one takes te form as a way of connecting it to the second verb. Okay? So motte kuru, to carry and come. Tsurete kuru, to bring a person, right?
No.
To bring a thing.
Yeah, motte kuru is to bring a thing, tsurete kuru is to bring a person. They both do the same thing. They use the te form of another verb plus kuru. And by the way, both of those also work with iku and kairu. So, tsurete kairu would be to accompany somebody home. Bring them to your home or bring them back to their own home, one or the other. Tsurete iku would be to bring someone and go somewhere. You know, to take someone somewhere. Tsurete iku. 持っていく to take something somewhere. 持って帰る to take it home. Make sense? So all of those compounds do work. Okay, so this thing is going to get saved. I'm just going to save it to my docs for now. Okay, so yes, I will post this to Canvas for everyone to see.
And the video will be on YouTube.
Yes, and the video will be on YouTube, so you guys will see all of this. So, tefomu no kisoku. So now that we've reviewed how to do it, let's do some application practice. Okay. So, yeah, we still have time. Okay, so 156ページを見てください。So we've got our Teform examples to try to convert. So, Kori-san, example を読んでください。Just the example.
Yeah, part C.
Part A.156ページ。156ページ、right? はい。はい。窓を開けてください。That very first exercise.
It's wondering when it's starting.
Example, 起きる。
That's what's happening. Page for such guy. Sorry. Okite. Or
Hi.
okiru to okite.
はい。起きる、起きて。じゃあ、シエラさん、1番。
食べる、食べて。
はい。食べる、食べて。2番。
So it's. Oh, sorry, I had my mind. Okay, so cow, kite, or cow,
顔 ends in what form?
You change it to.
顔 changes to
I can't do like the little two.
勝って。
Kate.
勝
Okay.
って。Don't add an E in there. There isn't one. Okay?
Yeah.
顔勝って。Okay? 竹山さん。はい。
Kaku changes to kaite.
はい。
Kuru
はい。
to kita.
来て。はい。6。
Matsu changes to matte.
はい。そうですね。Okay. 遊ぶ。There's the rule in green.
Okay.
遊んで。遊ぶ、遊んで。はい。シュラさん。はい。
する、して。
する changes to
Oh, she.
して、
して
して、because it's
Okay.
irregular.
Yeah.
する、して。
So it doesn't sound right. But yeah.
はい。Ah, let's scroll down and see.
So,
はい。急ぐ、急いで。はい。
Iku changes to ite.
行って。Yeah, our exception. はい。
Never to neta.
はい。寝る、寝て。はい。
Shine changes to shinde.
死んで。はい。はい。氷さん。
Naste. Naste.
話して。して。いや。話す、話して。はい。帰る、帰って。Make sure you've got the small two in there. 帰って。はい。Okay. Did anybody listen to the Teform song on the CD yet? Yes, there's a Teform song. I don't have it queued up, otherwise I would.
Oh my gosh.
And it really is to the Battle Hymn of the Republic tune.
I have.
Is this the way they
I
do
have
in
this
Japan
the
too,
thing
or-
on my phone.
I don't know if they use that tune everywhere, but I mean, this textbook is printed in Japan, so I guess some Japanese teachers use it
Do we
that way.
wanna
That's
listen to it?
hilarious.
Do you guys want to?
Yeah.
Sierra's got it.
KO 609. Here it is.
Bring my guitar next.
Yes. Can you up the volume?
of the Republic. あうあってばつばってとるとって読む読んで遊ぶ遊んで死ぬ死んで書く書いて消す消して急ぐ急いでみんな奪うてフォームくるってブブヌンで食いて食いでうつるってブブヌンで食いて食いでうつるってブブヌンで食いて食いでそして奪うてフォーム
Terrible.
I hate that.
It doesn't fit. I'm just saying that.
Okay.
It just sounds weird.
Okay. Well, I once had a different textbook that used O Tannenbaum tune for it instead. So I don't know if that's any better, but at any rate, notice though, as you look at it printed in the textbook, you can see that what they're doing first is they're showing an example of each type, and then the second verse is just restating the rule for each type. And notice that it's only the verbs that they're including in their song. They're not including the irregulars or the verbs because I think they feel like those are easier to memorize because they're finite, but there's more rules involved with the verbs, right? They're finite too, but there are more of them to learn. So the verbs are easy. Just drop the ru like you would for a mas form, only you replace it with te instead of mas, right? And suru shite, kuru kite, it's only two. So you can just memorize those, but with the verbs you have to remember what group the verb belongs in and the rule involved. And then there's that one exception, iku, which if you try to follow the rule for ku and gu with iku, you'd have I, te, which is very confusing because it sounds like you're either trying to do something with the adjective good, or it sounds like a mispronunciation of the verb to say, which is itte. So it's, yeah, so that one's irregular, iku itte. Okay, so are we okay so far with those? So let's go ahead and look at some of the uses to which we can put te form. One of the primary uses, which you've heard a bunch of times already, is te form plus kudasai means please do that verb. Okay, so let's try, for example, please speak Japanese is our example. Let's see, who did kaeru? Sierra Davis, right? So that's your turn.
日本語を話してください。
Hi, so notice how it's being used. 日本語を話す would be to speak Japanese, right? 日本語を話します I speak Japanese. 日本語を話しましょう Let's speak Japanese. 日本語を話してください Please speak Japanese. So the grammar of what object and what particle and things like that doesn't change. You're just changing the conjugation of the verb to the te form and then adding kudasai to say, please do that action. Question?
Oh, we could do like a Japanese version of Simon Says.
Yeah, we could.
And then if you don't say
Kudasai.
Remember the kudasai.
Alright, so we'll let Tatiana-san do ichiban and see if everybody can do it.
okay.
I wouldn't say hate o kudasai, would I?
Not
No.
o,
Okay,
just
so
hat, て、
そう、立ってください。
はい、立ってください。And then you get to tell everybody to sit down again. Oh, no.
Oh, you have to listen.
No, you don't. Please listen is
聞いてください。
聞いてください. Make sure it's 聞いて, not
聞いて。
聞いて. Okay? はい。And
本を読んでください。
はい。
見てください。
はい. When you say please look at me, do you know how to put the at me part?
私に。
私を.
Yeah,
Yeah, 私を. Yeah, 私
を見てください。
はい、私を見てください. Make sure when it's a root verb, make sure you're not accidentally inserting a small to in your pronunciation. 見てください。見てください。見てください。はい。Let's see. じゃあ、コーリーさん。
教科書を持ってきてください。
はい、持ってきてください。はい、教科書を持ってきてください。はい、シエルさん。じゃあ、皆さん座ってください。Please teach me kanji. So, what's the new verb to teach?
教える。
はい。はい。Okay. Yeah, let's break this one apart. So, watashi to me, right? You're teaching something to me. So what particle do you think makes sense to me? There you go. Watashi ni kanji o oshiete kudasai. There you go. Watashi ni kanji o oshiete kudasai. Make sense? Okay. And it occurs to me that if I scroll down, I could put that in here as an example sentence for us. So let's go back to black for typing. We know that kanji, right?
Yes.
Kanji. Kanji. Do you want the kanji for kanji?
You know one of those.
Well, we're learning it.
Okay,
No.
I'll do wrong kanji.
That is
That one.
That one.
Kanji
We don't have the first
o. Watashi ni kanji o oshiete. Should I leave that
I'll leave
one
that.
non-kanji?
Please.
Oshiete kudasai. And by the way, the kanji for kudasai is that one, which you do know.
Good.
And if you guys don't already know about this, let me just show you a fun little trick. Highlight it, go up to here. You see this thing? And you can do offset a little bit so that it's easier to spot, and you can even do it a little bit larger font because it's a little bit hard to see otherwise. There, watashi ni kanji o oshiete kudasai. So you could even do that with like oshiete if you wanted to. Click the space bar to get the kanji for it, and then come up here, and
Oshi.
I personally like 6-point font and offset by 2 as my kind of go-to settings.
I didn't know kudasai was.
Kudasai doesn't always get written as kanji. A lot of times people just leave it in hiragana.
It's
But
period.
if you're going to use it in kanji, that's the kanji for it. And it makes a certain amount of sense because originally it is a humble form where you're asking the person who you are elevating as being higher status than yourself to please give that to you. So you're putting yourself down here and you're putting them up there and you're saying, please give that to me.
And then they can go for it.
Right. You know,
Also
makes
fewer-
sense?
Also, it's fewer strokes.
Yeah, it's actually faster to write it in kanji. And that's not the only time when that's the case. There are quite a few places where kanji are faster.
Under? Yes.
Yeah, yeah, stop. Under and below, and in this case, give in a downward direction, kind of. So, watashi ni kanji o oshie kudasai. And then, of course, when you do the period in Japanese, when you're already in the Japanese setting, it just automatically gives you the chisai maru for the period. Yeah, I like that. So anyway, so 私に漢字を教えてください。じゃあ次。
私の本を
Yeah. 返す。So 返して
ください。
はい。So 返す。So it follows the すしてrule, right? So 返す、返してください。はい。はい。So ゆっくり言ってください would be please say it slowly. 話す is to speak, so ゆっくり話してください. Yeah. Just like in English, speak and say are similar in meaning, but there are slight differences in usage. So ゆっくり話してください would be like in general, please speak slowly. ゆっくり言ってください is more likely asking them to repeat that one thing they just said more slowly. Okay.
Okay, so please come with me that the watashi to kite kudasai.
Okay, that works. Watashi to, you could even do watashi to issho ni.
Yeah, come together with me.
はい、来てください。
Kite kudasai.
来てください。はい。10番。
明日電話をかけてください。
はい、明日電話をかけてください。And then please bring your friend.
友達を
はい。
連れてきてください。
連れてきて
来て
ください. Okay. Another little thing I want to show you guys for pronunciation practice purposes as much as anything else. Okay, these three verbs all exist. Kite, to come. Kitte, to cut. It's not just a stamp, it's also to cut. Kiru is the original verb. Kiru, kitte. Okay, and then kiite, to listen, right, or to ask. Kiite kudasai. Right? So let's practice our pronunciation of those three so that we're differentiating them. Okay? Kite, kitte, kiite. Hi. One more time. Kite, kitte, kiite. Hi. Another one like that. Shite versus shite. Both of those exist. Shite and shite. Okay? Shiteiru is to know. Shite is to come. No, to do rather. Sorry. Shite kudasai is please do. Shite kudasai doesn't really get used. Please know doesn't really work very well, but shitemasu, I know it, is very commonly used, and shitemasu would be I'm doing it. So they're two very different things. So I want you to, just use some lists like this. Practice some of these that are similar sounding but different from one another because it's important. And actually, it just occurred to me that actually shite exists also. Yeah, shiku is like to spread out a sheet or something, like when you're making your bed. So shite kudasai would be like, please spread it out,
Well,
like as in making your futon in the morning, or futon no shite kudasai.
if we pronounce them wrong, the context will help.
Yeah,
Ugh.
yeah. But there are times when, if you're just saying kite kudasai, but you mispronounce it, kite kudasai, you might be saying please listen to me, and instead you get the person walking over closer because they thought you said kite kudasai. There are times when it could be really confusing. So please practice the hatsuon. Okay? I'm going to actually label this hatsuon no renshu. Hatsuon is pronunciation. Hatsuon no renshu.
Let's do that song till it hums.
And I can give you the furigana on those. じゃあ頑張ってね。